Let me briefly talk about the different types of hardware acceleration. You're probably already used to the ones in the upper left, which is a CPU and a GPU. Those are software-driven pieces of hardware that do tasks. And within those blocks are specialized hardware. GPU obviously has specialized hardware to do graphics processing and lately to do AI processing. But even inside your CPUs, over the years, Intel has added more and more specialized hardware to do certain functionalities, like floating point or encryption, AES encryption. The problem is that you don't have any control over what those blocks are. You just have to wait on them to add them. And at the far right end is an application-specific integrated circuit. Think of it as something like a NIC, a network card, or a RAID controller. It does one thing, and it does it very well, and it's very efficient. But that NIC or that RAID controller can never be anything other than a NIC or RAID controller. It can't be a GPU. And then you have that strange thing in the middle, the field-programmable gate array. That's the chip I want to focus on because it's a piece of specialized hardware that can be a NIC or a RAID controller or a GPU or a CPU. It can be all of those. It's up to you to decide what you want it to be. So an FPGA stands for field-programmable gate array. It's basically a big sea of gates. And it doesn't do anything until you program it to be a specific type of hardware. But it gives you a lot of flexibility. The problem is that flexibility comes at a great cost. They're very hard to use. It takes a long time to gain the skills to do it. So what we need to do is have an FPGA that provides services that regular software people can use, but doesn't require specialized teams of people to build it. And I said esoteric piece of hardware, but the reality is that FPGAs are big business. They're not unusual, and you're going to see them more and more in the future. Microsoft is using FPGAs on every single server they put on their Azure network. They've already realized that they need that hardware flexibility and that acceleration. Amazon provides FPGAs in their F1 clusters for people to use. Intel just bought Altera, or a couple years ago, bought Altera, the second largest FPGA vendor, for $17 billion specifically to push FPGAs into the data center. And then Xilinx, the current largest FPGA manufacturer, has recently published that they think it's a $6.6 billion market for FPGAs in the data center. So this is not a piece of technology that's going away. It's a piece of technology that you're going to see more and more. And we believe, like Microsoft, that it's going to become a core part of every server put out at the edge. And the reason is it's your only way to get those massive gains on performance.